Hey everybody, what's up? It's Alyssa. How are y'all doing today? Tonight, it's 9:03. Hi, hello, I'm Alyssa, and today we're gonna be talking about some books. I am cramping pretty bad. That's why I'm not filming this video until 9 p.m. So I don't even know if I'm gonna make it through this video, but I better because I put on earrings for this, okay? It didn't take me nothing but 5 seconds, but still. I'm sure you could tell by the title. But today we're gonna be talking about There Will Come a Darkness and the sequel to There Will Come a Darkness, As the Shadow Rises. Woo, 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 woo. I'm gonna attempt to not spoil anything in the first half of this video. And then the second half is definitely gonna have spoilers because I wanna talk about it, okay? So I'll let you know when I start spoiling stuff. It might be a little bit jumbled because I didn't write notes on this book. I also don't annotate my books. So I don't mark them like with the little tab thingies. I don't write in them. I don't do anything. I'm new to this booktube thing. I like to ramble. If you haven't noticed yet, I like to ramble. So, this is just really just gonna be me rambling about this book, okay? So yeah, There Will Come a Darkness is a debut novel by Katie Rose Poole. That's a really pretty name. Honestly, it's pretty good. I got this on Book Outlet before Book Outlet was problematic towards Black people. I bought it because I thought the cover was pretty, and it is. Look how it's like so pretty, okay? And also I think someone said it was similar to Six of Crows. Actually, I don't think I'd read Six of Crows yet then. So I'm pretty sure I just bought it because it was pretty and it was on Book Outlet. So I was like, hey, what's up? What's up? That was me. Basically, it's a story of 5 people that aren't friends. So not Six of Crows. It doesn't remind me of Six of Crows at all, honestly. So I don't know why people were saying that. I think it's just because it's told by multiple points of view that people were like, it's kind of like Six of Crows, but that's like where the similarities end. Focuses on 5 people, okay? One is a prince. One is just a dude who has power. Then there's a girl who kills people with her power. And then there is the girl's sister. And then there is a guy who's like important. Horrible description, I know. It's all in the summary. So what is it? A prince exiled from his kingdom, a ruthless killer known as the Pale Hand, a once faithful leader torn between his duty and his heart, a reckless gambler with the power to find anything or anyone, and a dying girl on the verge of giving up. There you go. The dying girl is the sister of the ruthless killer. There we go. Awesome. I gave this book 3.5 stars out of 5 because I was bored for like the first half of it. Honestly, I was like, what the frick is going on? And I think it's because there were so many points of view for me that I was like, okay, can this story move? Because you had to like do an introduction for every character, and then they all moved, their own individual stories all moved at the same pace. So it was kind of hard for me to like get into it because I was like, oh my gosh, this is taking forever. So it took me like over a month to read this book because I was so bored at the beginning. But I kept going, and I think it was worth it. It was worth it to me. I wanted more by way of world building. I love world building, and I think she did build the world well, but I just wanted more. And I guess I kind of got more in the second book. I did, but I just like, I don't know what exactly I wanted more of, but I know that I wanted more. I also didn't think that the characters were all that lovable because this review says, the real magic of There Will Come a Darkness is in how Poole has crafted her heroes. Messy, flawed, and so beguilingly human. I dare you not to fall madly in love with them. I didn't fall madly in love with them, really. Some points of view, I was like, this is pointless. Like, this literally doesn't do anything for me. So why am I reading it? Because in the first book, I hated Beyrou's perspective. Beirut, I don't know how to say it, but either way, I hated her point of view because I was like, this is boring. This is lame. I'm not interested at all. To me, I was like, there's no reason for this to even be in here. And I understand why later there was a reason for this to be in here, but I was just bored. And also there was no like difference in like voice when they changed perspectives. It was just like literally like, oh well, now Hassan thinks this different thing. It was just telling me that the point of view was different and not like showing me that it was different. And I think that's what I appreciate about Six of Crows, is that it feels different when I'm reading different perspectives, you know? Like, to me, Jesper's chapters were written, like the voice and the presence and everything was just different than like Matthias or something like that. I hated Matthias's chapters. I was like, this is boring. He's so lame. But I ended up liking him enough by the end. Anyways, this is not about Six of Crows. I think the only really big similarity that I saw between Six of Crows in this book, besides the multiple perspectives, was Inej and the Pale Hand character. I was like, oh, they kill people and they're women. Like that. I wasn't really like, I didn't see any other similarities with Six of Crows, honestly. Like, I guess because it's like a really big world, and so is the whole like Grisha verse that Lee Bardugo has created. It is a really big world too, but I don't know, like you shouldn't count on this being Six of Crows 2.0 is all I'm saying. Anyways, so that's There Will Come a Darkness. I liked it. Like, I gave it 3.5 stars. I liked it enough to read and buy the second book. But the reason that I liked it came towards the end. I was invested in a romance, and I was like, I need to see this through, okay? And that's really the main reason why I read the second one, because I wanted to see the romance through. Like, I wasn't really invested in any other characters besides the ones that were having the romance. And then I also wasn't invested in the storyline. I'm not really a storyline type of person. I like character-driven stories versus plot-driven stories. And this was attempting to be character-driven, but then it wasn't completely. It was like a lot of plot. Like, there was twists and turns in the plot, and that's interesting. You know, you can't have a book without a plot. I mean, you can. Catcher in the Rye. But you know, it'll be very hit or miss for a lot of people. Like, I wanted it to actually be like an investment in these characters, because that's really, not to keep bringing up Six of Crows because I said we should move on, but I really liked Six of Crows because there was a lot of plot. There was a plot and all that, but I feel like we really learned about the characters, and we like got into their lives and their minds and all this stuff. And we did in the same way in this book here, but it just wasn't enough for me. And maybe I'm just too much of a character person that I'm like, you know, I need more. But it just didn't hit the same way. I wasn't as invested as I wanted to be. And now we're going to talk about the sequel, As the Shadow Rises. It came out September 1st, and I'm really glad that it did, because after I finished There Will Come a Darkness, I was like, this romance, I need to know right now where this romance is going, okay? And then I looked on Amazon, and I was like, yes! Let me order this book now. So I did, and it came, and I read it in a couple days, in like a week, I think. I was like, I like this book enough to read it in a week. Okay. This book is also pretty. Oh my gosh, whoever's designing these covers, they need a raise. Like, these are beautiful. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna read the third book, honestly, but I might just have to buy it because of the cover. That's a stupid reason to buy a book, but that's the reason why I buy all my books. This was good. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Okay, 4 out of 5 stars. We're getting better. But the reason why I gave it 4 out of 5 stars is because of the romance. I liked the romance. I thought it was well done, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. The reason why I kept reading was because I wanted to get to the chapters of the characters that were developing the romance. Sometimes I would get to a chapter of someone who had no romance, and I was like, oh, okay. Actually, they all had romance, technically, but like, you know what I mean? The one that I cared about. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna stop reading for the night. This book I thought was interesting. I thought it built well on the first book. So if the first book was the foundation, this was like the cornerstones, and then the third book, we're gonna boop, 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 house, okay? Hopefully. Because sometimes it'd be third book, bulldozer, okay? This book did a lot of explaining, and I guess that's kind of what I asked for. I was like, world building, yeah, do more with it. And they did do more with that. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. I am intrigued by this world and blah, 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 blah. But it wasn't exactly what I wanted. I was like, you're just explaining things to me. I don't know. I'm not a writer. I don't know how this whole thing works. But I kind of wanted it to be done in a more finessey way, because sometimes it would be like a block of dialogue to be like, this is what all this means, and then sometimes it would be like 45 paragraphs of no dialogue and be like, this is what all this means, and I was like, I don't want to read either of that. I did enjoy learning like the whole history of everything and about new things that are coming to light. And actually, I can't say that because I'm not spoiling anything in this part, but I did like I like the world building, like I've already said 58 times, but it's not a world that I would like to come back to, you know? Like, as much as I liked it, it's not someplace, like, it's not a world that I feel at home in, you know? Like, there are some books that you read and you're like, I just loved being in that world so much that I want to read this book again. And I want to experience this again and whatever. Like, for me, that is Six of Crows, and that is Red Queen, but only the first one. That is The Hunger Games for me, even though that book is tragic. All those books are tragic, but I just like being in that world, you know? Oh my gosh, the Lorien Legacies, I am number 4. Love being in that world, okay? I love it. There are so many books that I'm like, this is a wonderful world that I enjoy being in. And this is not really that world for me. Like, I just don't feel any connection to this world or these characters. Also, I thought Hassan was so annoying. I thought he was so annoying in this book. I thought he was so annoying. And I really liked him in the first book. I was like, yes, a prince who cares about his people and is out here fighting for his people and blah, 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 blah. And then in the second book, I was like, who is that? Who is that? Ew. He just completely did I don't know. Like, his characterization was the same, but it was like True Colors, you know? Yeah, your true colors. That was like, ew. I kind of hated him. Thought he was annoying in the second book. But everyone else got better to me, especially Beru, whatever. I thought she was so much better in the second book than she was in the first book to me. As much as I said I only cared about the romance, I actually did enjoy the perspectives way more in this book than I did in the first one. Because in the first one, I was like, what is the point of all this? But in this one, I understood, like, there is a point and things are happening, blah, 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 blah. And to me, it kind of reminded me of I Am Number 4 in some ways, like the whole series, where like they'll all be completely separated, and then at the end they'll all come together and be like, because that's the difference between this and Six of Crows. Also, I keep bringing it up, that in Six of Crows they're like all together basically all the time, like most of the time at least, except for when, you know, Inej gets snatched. But most of the time they're all together. After they get together the first time, you know, then they're together the rest of the time. But in this book, they're apart the entire time, okay? Except for Jude and Anton and Ephira and Beirut in the first book, kind of. Beirut barely had a perspective in the first book. She had like 4 chapters the entire book, and I was like, what is the point? What is the point? But in the second book, she had way more, and they were way more interesting. But anyways, except for Jude and Anton in the second book, everybody else is on their own. Like, they barely even know each other. Like, there are reasons how they know each other, or like ways that they know each other, but they barely even know each other. And then they come together at the end and they're like, whoa, fighting together, kind of fighting ish, making plans together. But yeah, it's different in that way too. It kind of reminded me of Mr. Pittacus Lore's books, where all his characters would be on completely opposite sides of the freaking world, and then they would come together in this, like, you know, epic battle. And yeah, that's satisfying to me, to really figure out how they all like lace together. I think that's also something that I think didn't help with me getting invested in these characters, was that they like Jude and Anton, I was invested in because they were always together, and you saw, well, at least in the second book, they were always together, and you saw how they like interacted with each other from each other's point of view, you know, if that makes sense. But the rest of them, it was just like one point of view, and we don't know anything else. And so yeah, I think it was hard because I didn't see them really like interact with other people that I knew, you know? So like, example, in Six of Crows, you have Jesper, the best person ever, I love him. And then you have Wylan, okay? And Jesper interacts with Wylan, and, you know, they do their little banter, and then you get a chapter from Wylan, and he's like, oh, you know? So I know Wylan, and I know what he thinks, and I know how he feels, and then I know Jesper, I know how he thinks, I know how he feels, and so I can get more invested in their interactions because I know how they both think, okay? But in this one, it's like, okay, so Ephira interacts with this guy, but I don't know him. I don't know how his mind works. I don't know anything about him besides what she thinks of him and what other characters think of him. So I'm like, I'm not invested here. I'm just like, okay. I think Miss Poole could benefit from not restricting herself to only the 5 points of view, because I wanted to hear from Hector. I still want to hear from Hector. In the first book, I was like, tell me what Hector's feeling. In the second book, I was like, tell me what Hector's feeling, okay? So I want to hear from Elia, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. I want to hear from him. I want to know how he's feeling. Even if it's just one chapter, I want to know. Like, I hope in the third book that she's like, look, I can do whatever the frick I want because it's my book. Don't, you know, you could do whatever you want. It's your book. So I want to hear from the supporting characters, even though they're not main characters and it would take up space in your book. And some people would probably hate it. But I want to know. I want to know how they feel, okay? Because I am a character-driven person. We've talked about this, okay? All right. That being said, it was good. It was good. And I thought the romance was fantastic. If you wanted to know, it was fantastic. I was not disappointed. It got a little angsty in there for a minute. And I was like, It better not stay angsty because I'm gonna be mad, okay? And it didn't. So if you are interested in the romance as much as I am, read it. Read the second book. Read the second book, okay? Let me take a water break before we go into the second part of this video. All right, so we're gonna start with some spoilers, baby. I don't know if I'm gonna talk about this book by book. I'm gonna just go character by character and say how I feel, okay? Let's go in order of this wonderful summary. A prince exiled from his kingdom. Hassan or Hassan, I don't know. It's a book, but I'm assuming it's pronounced Hassan because of Hassan Minhaj pronounces his name the same way, and it's just a difference between 1 and 2 S's, so Hassan. Anyways, I hated him, okay? By the end of the second book, I hated him. I already said that, but I just want you to know that I hated him. I hated his relationship with Capri, whatever. I hated their relationship. I thought it was corny. It was so cheesy to me. I was like, this is disgusting. They were always like, oh, we're sharing a bed together, we're kissing, we're hugging, we're doing all this, blah, 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 blah. Hassan is jealous of this other dude and blah, 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 blah. I was over it. I was like, I don't want to read about their stupid stuff going on. I don't care, okay? I don't care. It does nothing for me. Romance is dead. At least the het ones, okay? I thought in the first book, I was like, oh, this is kind of cute. Something could happen here. But it was so fast that I didn't even get a chance to be invested in it. Like, I didn't even get, like, they kind of flirted a little bit, but then they were dating. It was like, I need a build-up. I need flirting. I need banter. I need this and that and this and that and this and that, okay? They didn't do it for me. Hassan and his girlfriend, no. One thing that I was surprised by, though, that got me, was that I was low-key on his side at the end of the second book when he was like, what did he say? When he was like, I need to, I don't want my people to die. I don't agree with violence and all this stuff. And the graced refugees were like, well, if you don't agree with violence, you're gonna have to go. I was like, dang, how are they gonna betray him like that? But then I was like, low key, I'm on the grace side, because I think that, like, for Hassan, it's his kingdom, you know? Like, he's a monarch. He wants to see his kingdom prosper, but with him in power, you know? Like, the elite always wanted to stay in power, and in this case, he is the elite, and I will never agree with the elite, because I'm just like, you don't understand the wants and the needs of your people because you're rich and you lived a cushy life, you know? And he was getting all mad at them and being like, oh, well, it's not right for you to, like, want to incite violence. But violence is the only way that they really know will make change, you know? And it's really similar to today, with, like, BLM protests and stuff, where people are like, look, you cannot tell the oppressed how to protest their oppression, you know? And that's basically what Hassan was doing. He was like, well, I'm gonna be king. He kept saying that. I'm the king. They don't need a king, baby. They need someone who's gonna be on their side no matter what, right? They're being oppressed right now. Even though that's also arguable. But let's just go with they're being oppressed right now, okay? They are being killed. They're being killed, they're being kidnapped, they're being whatever. So it's not really up to you to be like, you shouldn't fight this way, especially since he's not graced yet. Because I still feel like that's coming. I don't know. I felt it in the first book. I was like, he's talking about how he doesn't have a grace and he's 17 and never comes this late. I was like, ooh, he's gonna be graced by the end of the book. And then he wasn't. And then he also wasn't graced by the end of the second book. So I was like, what the frick? But anyways, maybe she's not gonna play into that, which would be fun. I like that. Anyways, he's not Grace yet, so he doesn't know their struggle. He doesn't know how much it means to them. He doesn't know any of that, you know? It's just like, for me, I'm Black, obviously, and I'm like, people that aren't of color, or, you know, even some non-Black people, just non-Black people in general, don't really understand what it's like to be Black and be like, I hate this oppression, but I still love who I am as a Black person, okay? And Hassan didn't understand that. Like, he was like, you can do this peacefully. And they're like, no, we can't, because they're not doing it peacefully to us, so we're not gonna be heard if we do it peacefully. And I was surprised that I was like, for a second, I was like, oh, Hassan's right, you should do it peacefully. Then I was like, wait a second, no, he's not right. He's not right. No, no, he's not right. Hassan, you're just gonna have to let go. The monarch thing is probably not gonna happen anymore after this. So reconcile that with yourself, within yourself. Yeah, that was my 2 cents about him. I also thought it was really dirty that he led this whole thing, this whole like take back of the kingdom or whatever, when he knew that he wasn't the prophet. Because I was like, okay, from the beginning of the book, the very beginning of the book, when they were like, introduce Anton, I was like, that's the prophet. That's the last prophet. And then they said it was Hassan, and I was like, am I wrong? I wasn't wrong, because I'm never wrong, okay? I wasn't wrong. But I was like, what? And Hassan was also like, what? And then he realized, I don't have a grace. I don't have the grace of sight. So, therefore, I cannot be the last prophet. I'm not graced. And I was like, why didn't you tell him that from the beginning? Because he thought when they told him that he was the last prophet, he was like, I don't even have a grace. In his mind, he said, I don't even have grace. And he didn't even tell them. And then he had this stupid dream that was literally just a dream, not no freaking prophecy. And he was like, I am a prophet. And then he was like, wait a second. No, I'm not. And he didn't tell them. He should have told them, because then he led them to their destruction. So haha, stupid. Even though he ended up like kind of fixing it a little bit. But he also ended up being a part of the last prophecy in a way that he didn't expect. So it's like, I don't like him. I also think it's interesting, speaking of the prophecy, how we're finding out how they play into the prophecy as characters. I think that's so cool. Like, I actually do really like that part of the book. It's like, oh shoot, you're a part of the prophecy too. It's crazy. Moving on, next character. I'm taking too long. Ruthless killer known as the Pale Hand. I'm gonna do her and her sister together, okay? The Pale Hand plus sister, okay? Ephira and Beru, whatever, okay? Like I said, Beru was boring in the first book. I was like, okay, you're soft. That's what I'm getting from this. Ephira was interesting to me, kind of, because it was kind of like a Robin Hood type of deal. She wasn't stealing anything, but she was only killing bad people, and I was like, I really can't be mad at that, you know? Like, you're a bad person, and she's killing you to save her sister. I was like, it's a moral gray, but I like moral gray. So I was like, carry on. I liked Ephira enough. She was all right. I thought she was very impulsive, which it happens. That's how people are. They're impulsive. We are impulsive as people. But she was like, I was like, girl, you need to go to therapy. Not that they have therapy in this world. I actually don't know if they do. But she needed to go to therapy. Are you good? Like, what the frick? You done raised your sister from the dead like 48 times. Therapy? You need to go to therapy. that's some trauma right there. She killed a lot of people, like her entire town. And then she kept going. I was like, wait. At the end when she killed Hector, at the end of the first book, when she killed Hector, I was like, Hector? You killed his whole family. And then you killed him. Hector, you killed him. I kind of like when characters are like very attached to their family members. I think it's cute. It's like, family relationships that aren't broken for once. Even though it was kind of broken because both their parents were dead. But whatever, it doesn't matter. Anyways, I think she should have listened to her sister, because her sister kept being like, look, I want to die. Like, even though she kind of like in the second book was like, I actually don't really want to die. Like, I just think it would be better if I was dead. I don't want to die though. So I guess it was good that Afira didn't let her die. But also I'm like, if people are telling you to stop doing what you're doing and you're doing it only for them, you should probably stop doing what you're doing. Because at some point it becomes selfish. Like, your wants are more important than their wants because you think, because to Afira it was like, I need my sister to be alive so I can function, you know? And to Beirut it was like, I don't want to be the reason that all these people keep dying. No matter how bad they are, I don't want to be, you know, the sole reason. So it was weighing heavy on Beirut because she was like, people are dying because of me. And Afira was like, but I need you. And I was like, you should probably listen to her, honestly. And like I said, she didn't. She couldn't, because then the second book, the prophecy that Anton had wouldn't even happen. The second book, like, Beirut's quite important to it. So it's like, whatever. But anyways, let's move on. Hector and Beirut. That was cute. I don't know if it's real, because Beirut doesn't think it's real. And now I'm like, oh shoot, is this not real? Does Hector actually hate her and they're just connected in a way that Beirut has feelings and so Hector also has feelings? Like, I want to know. Because he said, I don't want to lose someone that I love when she was dying the like very last time. And I was like, love? And she was like, this is fake. I was like, fake? I thought it was cool that Afira had a plot, objective in the second book. Like, she had one in the first book as well, but it was like way more like, this is her objective, to find the chalice. That's all she wants to do, right? So she did it, and I was like, whoa, and also finding out about her history and why she can just kill people was so cool. I was like, oh my gosh, she's part necromancer king, and he's still alive. Look, the second half of the book, I was like, that's me gasping after every chapter. Honestly, the plot it kind of hit. I thought it was really cool how it all like came together. The prophecy at the end, Anton's dreams, this, that, do, dot, dee, dot, the necromancer king, the guy, the thief king or whatever. I was like, there's too many kings in here, too many monarchs. I don't like that. Okay, I don't like positions of power, so stop, please. Our Afira and Beirut 100% better in the second book than they were in the first one. Beirut actually had a storyline, actually had a personality. Afira actually had some objective that wasn't just like in the air, because she wanted to find the chalice in book 1 and she was like, oh shoot, Anton can't find it, oh well. Beirut and Hector, it's cute. I'd like it to happen. I want it to be real, but I don't know if it is. Let's move on to who's next. A once faithful leader torn between his duty and his heart. Jude. Let's talk about Jude. I love him. Okay, I love Jude. Jude is 100% my favorite character besides Anton. They're both my favorites. I love them. I love Jude's story. I love his humanness his humanity. I love how he's written. I love everything about that boy. I love the fact that he has feelings even though he's not supposed to. He is the keeper of the word, and it's a religion, basically. It is a religion, because he's like, my faith is so important to me. Like, the way that, I don't know, maybe it's because I grew up Christian, and I am still a Christian, but I am one of those who's like, you know, there are questions to be asked. And there are things that I feel that people are like, oh, you shouldn't feel that way because you're a Christian. And I'm like, well, I'm still a person. So I think that's why I love Jude so much, because he has the same turmoil as I do, and as I did, and as I deal with daily. Okay? And I was like, that is cool. That was well written. He was like, can I have desires? Am I allowed to want things? As the keeper of the word. And it's not just because of his religion, it's just the fact that he has such a high position of power, which I also thought was cool. I was like, ooh, a boy with power, okay. Me saying that I hate his husband because he has power, and then me saying I love Jude because he has power. Oh, she's problematic. I love that he's conflicted all the time. I love that I didn't know that his feelings for Hector were unrequited or unrequited. I don't actually know how to say that word. It was cleared up in the second book that Hector would never like him back. So I was like, oh, Hector doesn't love him the same way that he loves Hector. So, because at first I was like, how is he gonna have a relationship with Anton if Hector is still in the picture? And then Hector died, but then he came back to life, so it was whatever. But then I realized that Hector just didn't like him back. He was just liking Hector, you know? I thought it was cool how he was like, I'm gonna reject my duty for this boy, and then it didn't work out. I was like, it didn't work out. Just such a cool character. Like, thank you for giving us that, Mrs. Poole. I don't know if she's married, Miss Poole. And let's just talk about Anton together. I love Anton. He's so also very well written. He's a human, and I like that. Okay, I was like, trauma is really hit or miss for me, like in books, because sometimes I feel like it's just put in there to be like, here's some trauma for you, you're welcome. And I'm like, I didn't really need this to happen, but like his trauma was actually like important to the story, and like why he was kind of like discovered so late. Not so late because he's still a young boy, but why they thought it was Hassan first, and then they were like, oh wait, it's not. Funny. So yeah, I don't remember what I was saying. Oh yeah, his trauma is important to the story, and it keeps coming back. Like, it was cool how they connected it to the guy before him who had that relic, the sight relic, the like stone, whatever, how he like drowned himself in the lake that he was born near, and he was like, there was something pulling me down into that lake, bruh. And then he went back, and it was a relic. I was like, wow, it's all coming together. And I also thought it was like, the romance was so good. Jude and Anton, just let's take a moment of silence for them. I thought it was so well written because they were so different as people. Like, Anton was like running from everything all the time. He was like, do I have a grace? I could not. Who knows? And Jude was like, my grace is my life. That's all I care about is my grace and my faith. And Anton was like, all of that is fake, okay, sir? And he was very forward with his emotions, Anton. Well, not all of them, but the fact that he's a really flirty person, and it was all just a cover up to be like, I'm actually broken inside. But he flirted with Jude a lot, and I loved it. I ate it up. I also liked how flustered Jude was every time Anton tried to flirt with him. I love that. I loved when they were like trying to find the pinnacle blade, and Anton was like, I have a great idea. Let's pretend we were making out in this room. And Jude was like, oh my God, but I want to make out actually. And Anton was like, all right, let's get going. Anyways, I love the romance because you got to see both sides of it. Also, just saying, I thought Afira and Ilya was nasty. I was like, are we gonna do this? Even though she still didn't trust him, but I was like, I didn't like that. Like I knew it was gonna happen, but I was like, because she kept talking about his pretty face, and I was like, please. No. I feel like that woman from Get Out. No. That kind of scared me. I'm scared now. Everything about Jude and everything about Anton, I love. Okay, I loved that Jude in the second book was like, is my faith like this important to me? Like it is, but like how much of it do I actually believe, and how much of it was like forced upon me? Because he like never had a real family, never was always expected to like not have desire, not want love, or you know, the only reason why like his dad had a child was because he needed an heir, and he needed someone to take over once he was like too old or whatever, and then he ended up getting 86, so it was like whatever. And Jude was like, but I want to love someone and I want to have a partner in life. And I was like, that's really precious. You're a soft boy and I love you. Okay, I loved him. Okay, I don't know if I have said it enough yet, but I loved him. Just everything about both of their characters I really loved. Like I wasn't invested in any of the other three really that much, except for Baby a little bit in the second book. But Jude and Anton, I was like, I want them, they like grew. Like Anton had, his character development is so good because like I said, he was traumatized and he was like getting over it with Jude, which that part in the book when they went back to the lake to get the relic and Jude started drowning and Anton jumped in to save him. Oh my God. I was like, Anton. That part, I was like, this is gold. This is gold. Like, this is character development at its freaking finest, okay? I like when character development is like demarcated by a physical action because they, like, you can tell that he's developed as a person, you know? But then he jumps into the water willingly, the same water that he was like, I have nightmares about this every night. Every night. And then at the end of the first book, when Anton was like, I'm gonna just throw myself into this fire and die. And Jude was like, what? No, you're not. And he protected him with his entire body. I was like, wow. That was when I decided that I was gonna read the second book. He's like, I'm gonna protect you forever. And I was like, that is cute. Even though it was like his duty or whatever, it was still like very, I don't know. Am I lonely? Yes. And also, oh my gosh, the fact that Jude didn't have his grace the entire book, and then he finally accepted that he was like, I love Anton and I am the keeper of the word and I still have my faith and I'm a part of the order. And then he was like, suddenly I have my grace and I can wield the pinnacle blade. I was like, ah! I knew it was, obviously it was gonna happen. Like everything was leading up to that. Like he allowed himself to love and he allowed himself to have desires and still be the person that he wanted to be or needed to be. As you can see, I really like the second book way better than the first one. But it was like, I said, I don't really know if I'm gonna read the third book. If the cover is white, I'm gonna freaking read it. Or gold. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'll probably read it. I don't know, because it's coming out in a year, so I don't know how much I'll like have desire to read it. I got what I wanted in the second book with the romance between Jude and Anton. But I still have things that I want to know. Like I kind of want to know how it ends. Like I don't care that much how it ends, But I'm kind of curious to see how they're gonna end this, because it's kind of like a mess right now. It's like a big mess. Hopefully there's only 3, because I hate when I'm like, oh, there's only 3 books, and then there somehow ends up being a 4th. Let's talk about Red Queen. I was like, why is there a 4th one? Just stop, please. And the 4th one was so long too. I was like, I feel like I really did stay true to my I'm just gonna ramble. And I did ramble. I don't know if I even made any points besides that I love Jude Anton. And I do. That's the only point that needs to be made, that I love them. What I want to see in the future is less Hassan. I want Afira to have more of a point to her life than keeping Beirut alive. Really. Like, she's done what she needed to do. Like, Beirut's alive, and she's probably gonna stay alive. They said something in the 2nd book that was like, this is the last time I will have to heal her. And then it's like, okay, well, she's probably gonna stay alive. But also because she has like another entity inside her, so I don't know if she can die. I don't know, whatever. Anyways, I want her to have another purpose in life other than that. Because that kind of sucks for that to be your only... I mean, I guess she does have purpose, but like, only purpose that we know, you know? Just to keep her sister alive, like... That's boring, okay? I want for Beirut to be happy, whether that means that she's dead or she's alive and with Hector. I want her to be happy. I want her to feel like she has atoned, because that's all she was talking about in the 2nd book. I want to atone, I want to atone. I want her to feel like she has atoned. And I want, if she dies, I want her to die happy. I want Jude and Anton to stay together forever, no angst. And I want Anton to become better for himself. Like, as much as I was like, yeah, he did it for Jude, I also want him to do it for him, you know? And I guess he is too, but you know, the line is blurred. I want Jude to be okay with himself, and I want the order to be dismantled. But not like dismantled in the way that they just don't exist anymore, but I just want less rigid rules. I want him to take power and be like, look, this is crazy. Okay, this is not the way to run this. This is not working. And I'm gonna change it. That would be wonderful. Like, I think that is, like, he is deconstructing. Basically, deconstructing is like when you grow up in a religion, or you are, not even when you grow up, but I grew up in one, so I'm basically just talking about myself. When you're in a religion and you're like, you learn all these things and you try to live your life by the way that you were told to, you know, and then you're like, wait a second, there are some things that I don't agree with here, that I don't really think are true, or I just don't want to live my life that way, or whatever. Deconstructing. So it's basically like, for me personally, I've always felt uncomfortable with the homophobia in the church, so I was like, I don't like that. So I am gonna deconstruct and unlearn everything that I was taught about homosexuality. I hate that word. About gay people and the LGBTQ community, and I'm gonna reconstruct and learn it in a more loving way. It's unlearning, basically. So he's kind of deconstructing in his own self about his faith and what he was told and how true it was, and all these things that he was like, I kind of just blindly believe this, and I should have maybe asked a couple questions. And now he's asking those questions, and I love that. I love that. And I want for him to reach a point in his life where he's like, questioning is not so hard anymore, you know? Because that's kind of how I am now. Maybe I'm just projecting onto Jude, and I literally am. But that's kind of how I am in my life now, because I'm like, I should question things. Because when you question things, you figure out why you believe them. You figure out, or why you don't believe them. You figure out more things about yourself, your own values, your ethics, etc., your morals. You end up doing a lot more good to yourself when you question things versus when you don't. Because blindly believing things doesn't have any foundation, you know? If I'm like, why do I believe that Jesus died on the cross? Why is that even true? Do I even, like, you know, I need to ask those questions so that I have a stronger faith at the end of the day, you know? And I think that Jude is kind of doing the same thing. And I really love that. I really do. Best character, him and Anton. Like I said, I want less Hassan. I want less of his girlfriend. I don't care about them. I want for them to revolt, truly. Riot in the streets. Who freaking cares? Do it. It's your country too. Not just his. I also want a point of view from Hector. I want to know how Hector feels. I want to know if his love is real. I wanted a point of view from Hector the whole first book too. I was like, I need to know what Hector is thinking. But yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching my video on model. Thank you for watching my rambly review, kind of There Will Come a Darkness and As the Shadow Rises, I think. Yes. Thank you for watching that. If you have read the books, let me know how you feel. If you haven't, let me know if you're gonna read them based on this video. I didn't spoil that much, I don't think. Even in the spoilery parts, I didn't spoil that much. So look, you have a lot to find out still. Recommend me some books or something. I have a lot of books to read, so maybe not. But I like book recommendations. So do whatever you want, honestly. Follow me on Twitter. I actually don't have a Twitter. I was about to say follow me on Twitter. I'm suspended, baby. Follow me on Instagram. I have a bookstagram, but it's not very active. I have like 4 pictures. But follow me on there. I'm trying. I just really don't know how to do it. And I also have a personal Instagram that is currently private because I post political things on there and I don't want my boss to see. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a good rest of your day, rest of your morning, rest of your night. Have a great week. Have a great month. Peace or whatever. My dumplings are overcooking, so I'm gonna go. Bye.